Welcome to your 2's Reviews. We take a look back at Atlanta United 2's 2-1 loss to Carolina Core at Fifth Third Bank Stadium in the midweek on your Wednesday night. John Nelson here, you there. Thanks for hanging out with us. And what we'll do is we'll go back over all the numbers and the highlights, and we will hear from Steve Cooke and Noble Okello coming up at the end of it and get you ready for 9 more days off for Atlanta United 2 as they get ready for a matchup against Huntsville City Football Club in 9 days at Joe Davis. That one's going to be on the 18th, and it will be up there. The same day, by the way, that the first team plays in the afternoon in Nashville. And so after that match is over, I think Jason and Maddie and possibly Mike might be making the trip all the way down to Huntsville, about an hour and a half, 2-hour drive. So a 2-hour drive to get you ready for one match to the other, and you can hear the matchup with Huntsville on the SDH network. All right, let's take a peek at what happened in the activity. Here's your goals. Atlanta United 2 had the early lead. 31st minute, Noble Okello on the board with a little help from Eric Centeno. Right in Centeno, that's where he goes. Big steps, cut back, Okello and in! Noble Okello with that big frame contorts. Ball was kind of drifting behind him. Found a bit of a handle on it. Flicked it to the far post. It goes past Alex Sutton. Goal on the board to the 2's. 1-0, 32nd minute. And then it was 2 goals, 4 minutes or so apart for Carolina Core. They would eventually take the halftime lead. And here's how they did it. Cuevas with the throw about 25 yards away from goal over on the far touch. Played back to Kai Thomas in the attacking half. 10 yards looking down the middle to Evans. Evans chips to his right. Canete, Cuevas. Cuevas looking. Flick header. Caden Moore to Evans. Evans winds, fires, and scores. Jacob Evans. Big blast for Core, and we are tied at 1 late in the 43rd minute. Free kick opportunity for Core. Headed and in. Set piece. Works, and Diaz gets it in the back of the net for Core. Diaz was at the back of all of the bodies, and Christian Diaz gives Core the lead at 46-50. Matchup would have a lot of excitement in the second half. Atlanta United 2 dominant when it came to numbers across the full 90 minutes, but the scoreline would not budge. First win of the season for Carolina Core. They do it on the road against Atlanta United 2 by the final of 2-1. So here's a look at your numbers across the board from your stats. And your full-time numbers, XG, if you believe in those kinds of things. XG goes to Atlanta United 2, 1.31 to 0.57. 15 shots for Atlanta United 2 compared to 5 for the visitors. 7 on target compared to 4. 10 of the 15 were inside the box, all 4 inside the box for Core. No shots hit the woodwork. Total touches in the opposition's 18, 28-9. Atlanta United 2. Final third entries almost 3-1, 2.5-1 really. 64 of the 89 total final third entries went to Atlanta United 2. Both teams called for offside twice. Distribution numbers in possession, it was 64-36 for Atlanta United. Total passes practically, 270, about 70% more passes total by Atlanta United, 620 to 350. Completed numbers, passing accuracy at 88% for the 2's, 80.3% for Core. Passes in the opposition half, more than 60% of the numbers for Atlanta United 2. 313 of the 546 compared to 115 of the 281 for Core. Passing accuracy in the opposition half, 80% compared to 62.6. Passes in the final third, 147 to 58. Total crosses, 33 total crosses for Atlanta United on the day compared to 7. 15 corners. I know it was a lot of corners, but 15 corners compared to 1 for Atlanta United 2 against Carolina Core. Dribbles 17 to 12 for Atlanta United 2. Atlanta United 2 successful 53% of the time compared to 3 of 12 for Core. Total duels straight up 50-50. 78 of the 156 across the board, 53% won by Core. Aerial duels, 50-50, 26 on each side. Possession won in the final third, Atlanta United 2 winning it 7 times of the 9 for both sides in the match. Tackles 12-10 for Carolina Core. Tackles 1, 9-6. Interceptions, it was 16-6 for Core, anticipating the passing lanes very well against Atlanta United 2. Fouls 24 on the day, resulting in 5 total yellow cards, 3 for Atlanta United 2, and the 1 red card on Endoy that happened late in the match. And so that's your breakdown of what happened in the 2-1 win for Carolina Core, with the goal from Okello from Centeno, and it was Jacob Evans and Christian Diaz getting the goals on the board for Core at 43 and 45 plus 2. Carolina Core would get the win for the first time this season in the Eastern Conference. And so that sets up the post-game conversation. Here's our conversations with Atlanta United 2 head coach Steve Cooke and the goal scorer, Noble Okello.
How much of a challenge was it getting ready for this when knowing that the first team had Open Cup before, there were young'uns that had minutes before that? How much of a challenge was this match?
Yeah, I think, well, the challenge is always there. But, you have to prepare, but obviously some line-up adjustments, because obviously we had so many of our players last night playing for the first team, which is fantastic, right? So, I mean, a great result for the first team last night. I think to get that 3-0 win last night with Nicky Firmino scoring a couple, Rios getting one, I think is really pleasing. Matt Edwards getting an assist, I think is terrific. So credit to those guys last night, and I'm glad we can help to prepare the players as best we can. And obviously you saw a good performance there last night, so I'm really pleased. But the challenge for us is to give other players an opportunity, and some of them take them, some of them don't, and that's the harsh world of professional soccer that they're in now. And the preparation was good. I think the players equipped themselves well. I think you saw the game. I mean, in all but one category, we've absolutely dominated every single piece of the game, statistically, and the feeling of the game, the rhythm of the game, the momentum of the game. I thought we absolutely dominated. And sometimes football's a bit like that. You make 2 bad mistakes. Young 16-year-old centre back, and he's made two tough mistakes. Hopefully he learns, and we move on. That's where we are.
And that's the key, is that in these learning situations, is that you have a 1-0 lead, and you hope that they learn, not just even the individual that might be pinning themselves to what happened, but everyone else surrounding in that. So it's a learning experience for everybody with that.
It is, and this is what the group is for, right? I mean, Carolina Core, that's their first team in their club, and they've got different goals, I suppose. And our main target is to get these young players some time and get them through and help them learn and develop. But we want to win at the same time. And I think we've made a couple of big mistakes there just before half-time, so it was a tough times to score. I think if we go in at half-time 1-0 winners, we're probably going to go on and win easily. And certainly the second half, it was so dominant. I mean, I can't remember being in a game where we were that dominant ever. Unfortunately, we were trying to claw it back, and we didn't quite get that bit of luck, that final touch that we needed, because that's what changes the game ultimately.
What do you think about Jaden between the sticks? Obviously, first time out, everyone's going to gravitate toward how many goals he let in, not look at the situation. But second time in, what do you think of Jaden?
I think he's improving. He's got a long way to go, but he's certainly, every day he comes to work. He works very hard. Lewis Sharp, the goalkeeper coach, is absolutely brilliant. He's one of the best I've ever been around. He's a top person and a great goalkeeper coach. I think the goalkeeping department in the club is very, very strong right throughout. Those guys do an awesome job, and Jaden is learning, and he's only young, he's only 19, so he's really learning the craft. He's got a long way to go to get to where he needs to be, but certainly tonight he represented himself well.
And you mentioned what's going on at the back. You have Jacob, who's progressing, Caden obviously getting more reps to be acquainted with everybody else back there. So those younger players, while yes, they are making mistakes, they're also getting more acclimated to the grind of what they're supposed to be doing.
They're doing ever so well. And, obviously tonight we've had to put Eric Centeno slightly out of position second half. Obviously you saw him play a much higher role, and he did exceptionally well. Lost Ramsey, it looks like, for a little while, and that's a heartbreaker because he was doing so well for us. And he was somebody who just came into the group to give us some stability, which he has done. I hope that injury is not serious. And then I thought the highlight of the night for me was the performance of Miles Hadley coming on. He's only a young kid as well. I think he's just 18. And I thought Miles Hadley was exceptionally good at centre-back. And I think that shows me that he's not only a player with a future, but he can maybe do it right now as well, which is important. I think that all players have to not only have potential to improve, but they have to perform today as well. And if one of those two things isn't there, that's usually when the career ends.
So what was the early word on Ramsey?
Don't know yet. I think it's some form of a knee. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. It might be an MCL, I'm not sure. But I just wish him all the best. He's just an amazingly good person, and I think he's been so good for us since he came in, on short notice. And I'm if it's a tough injury, I'm gutted for him, but I think he should be okay.
And because of Ramsey having to leave, that meant that Aiden had to come in and do minutes back-to-back on back-to-back days. And you saw a lot from Aiden tonight having to be pressed into service.
Yeah, I think Aiden did really well again, and I think he's a player who, he had that year last year where he played a little bit and he got some significant minutes and improved, and he looks now like a second-year pro. He doesn't look like a young player trying to fight his way through anymore. He looks like a real player now, and I think he did well last night, and he's come into the game tonight, and it's not easy for him. And I think when he went in, we were scrambling to get to half time and put it together. So I think he did really well in second half. Obviously a couple of passing mistakes and things like that, but at 16 years old, he looks like he's got a future in the game.
First 7 of 8 at home, and now the next 7 of 9 on the road. You've got 10 days to help not just decompress, but to kind of look at how things have come to this particular point of the season. What do you anticipate this next 10 days being?
Yeah, well, first we're having 2 days off. We've had a tough run of games with almost a game every 3, 4, 5 days. So it's been a bit of a grind, and we're fortunate to be able to get 2 days off. And I'm off to California to see my family. To my daughter's graduating college, so I'm excited about going to see them. So I think everybody needs to probably get away from the game a little bit and probably not worry about tonight too much, and actually think about the positives that we could all do tonight, because I think it was a real positive performance throughout. And then when we get back to work, we'll go for it again. And with Huntsville on the road, we've got to now really prepare diligently. We've got to prepare in the way that we can go there and get a result. And I think when we go to Huntsville, we'll be not only prepared, but we'll be confident we can win the game.
For this group, when it came to seeing younger guys have to go and be a part of Open Cup, and it creates another different set of juggling and having to adjust for a match like this. What was it like knowing some of the younger guys were going to be attached to the first team and having to get ready for this matchup against Core?
Yeah, obviously those players that went up, it's good for them, and they obviously went up and did well for the first team. But a lot of these guys that were here with us today, we all played with each other in preseason, so we already knew how we played with each other for a while now, so there wasn't really much of a difference. I think we were just unlucky overall today. I think we dominated the game, and that's football. Sometimes it just doesn't go your way, but I think I'm proud of the guys. The coach is proud of us, the way we played. Although we didn't get the result, we showed our qualities, and if we could keep doing that throughout the year, I think we'll get more results.
All right, so let's discuss the goal here.
Yeah,
it looked like almost something where you end up like a scorpion sidekick flick behind and aiming toward the far post. It was almost like right foot red with Twister out there. What was it? What was going through that?
Yeah, at first, we won the ball like in the middle of the park with Abby, and he played a good pass forward to Matty, and then Matty and Eric had a 2v1 on the flank, and I found an opportunity to go because I was already high anyways up the field to get into the box, and I ran to the penalty spot, and Eric put a good ball, and I adjusted my feet and just tried to hit it. I didn't mean to hit it that way. It kind of just worked out, but I'm thankful for the goal, the first goal of the year.
And obviously, they get the 2 goals in like 4 minutes at the end of the second half.
Yeah.
What was the talk at halftime about trying to reverse that string?
Yeah, obviously we were disappointed, but we felt that, we were dominating the game for the most part anyways. We just said that, we got to get back in the game. Unfortunately, we didn't, but, we learned from it. We obviously have a lot of young guys that, will gain experience from games like this, but, yeah, I think it was just unlucky play that happened. And again, that's football. We have to be ready for those moments.
What have you learned as a group with this stretch of matches to start the year, all these matches at home? What do you think you guys have learned about yourselves in this opening stretch of the season?
I think we've learned, number one, that, every game is going to be hard and we have to approach it no matter, obviously we've been at home, we have to approach it like every game serious. Teams are coming to get points ultimately, and we learned that, we have to be better. We have to be ready to take points. It's going to be a long season. Obviously, we're going to have a lot of away games coming up, and maybe we'll look back at some of these games and say maybe we should have grabbed. We have to keep going and try to get more points at home. Yeah.
But, I mean, that's all part of the learning experience for the younger guys and for you as one of the older players who's a leader to help in the application of these lessons going forward.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for sure. I think we all as a group can do better. It doesn't matter who it is, what age you are. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all old enough and we're good enough to be here, so we just have to look forward and try to grab better and more points at home. So that's what it is.
So now you've got 7 of your next 9 through, I think, the end of July on the road.
Yeah.
But you've also got 10 days before the next one.
Yeah.
I guess what are you looking forward to in this 10 days? A, as a part of learning going forward, and B, as a part of having 10 days in between matches where you had this stretch where 7 of 8 were at home to start things off.
Yeah, I think one thing that Cook said is just, obviously we didn't get the result today, but we can look forward and take some positives from this match and carry it into the next game. I think that, we look forward, no matter if it's away or home, to play football, and that's what we love to do. So we're just going to have to go away and try to secure points.
That lays everything out now in MLS Next Pro heading into the weekend. And your schedules and stats and everything, once again, your standings in the Eastern Conference. And we'll do it by conference, and then we'll do it by division. Conference, 3 teams at 17 points. Chattanooga FC, Philadelphia Union 2, and Red Bulls 2. Chicago Fire 2 at 14, FC Cincinnati 2 at 13, OCB at 13, and Columbus Crew 2 is at 12. 8th is Revolution 2 at 11 points ahead of Crown Legacy. Inter Miami CF 2 is at 10. NYCFC 2 is at 9. Toronto FC 2 is at 8, as is Atlanta United 2. Carolina Core 3 points behind them with 5. Hunt City with a record of 0-4-3. They are with 3 points in their first 7 matches on the season. In the Western Conference, looking at things from a conference standpoint, LAFC 2, 17 points ahead of Ventura County, basically Los Dos relocated, and North Texas SC. All Caps SC 2, St. Louis, 15 points. Tacoma Defiance at 14, Sporting Kansas City 2 at 13. Then a bit of space against Town FC and Timbers 2, each with 10. Austin FC 2 is at 8 points, and so Los Verdos, same points as Real Monarchs. Vancouver Whitecaps 2 are at 7. Dynamo Dos Houston at 6 points. Colorado Rockies 2 at 4, and Loons 2 with a record of 1-4 in their first 5. They are at 3 points. Now looking at things from the division standpoint instead of the conference standpoint. Northeast, Philadelphia Red Bulls 17 points, 3 ahead of Chicago, 4 ahead of Cincinnati. Columbus at 12, New England at 11, NYCFC 2 is at 9. Remember, they are still juggling CONCACAF Champions Cup. Toronto FC 2 is in 8th place in the Northeast with 8 points. In the Southeast, it's Chattanooga at 17, Orlando at 13, Crown Legacy at 11, Inter Miami at 10, Atlanta United is at 8, Carolina Core is at 5, and Huntsville is at 3. Western Conference on the Frontier, it's North Texas at 16 points, St. Louis at 15, Sporting Kansas City 2 at 13. Then to the single digits, Austin FC, Dynamo Dos, Rockies 2, Loons 2. Then in the Pacific, it is LAFC 2, a point ahead of Ventura County. Tacoma's at 14, the Town is at 10, same with Timbers 2, Real Monarchs at 8 points, and Vancouver Whitecaps FC 2 are at 7. Next up, coming up for both of these clubs, it's going to be a little while for Atlanta United, too. We mentioned the next match for them is on the road on the 18th, and that is going to be in Huntsville. Very, very busy weekend across the board. A lot of matches on your Sunday. It's 3 on Saturday. Inter Miami CF hosting Chattanooga FC. Hunt City's hosting Toronto. And Timbers 2 hosting Tacoma. That one is at Providence Park. You can catch all of those on MLS Season Pass. Sunday, Season Pass has Hell is Real 2. Or Hell Not As Real. Purgatory is Temperate. Or Purgatory is Plastic. Who knows? Loons 2 in Ventura County at the National Sports Center Stadium. That one is on MLSNextPro.com, as is Sporting Kansas City 2 and Rapids 2 and LAFC 2 and Whitecaps 2. St. Louis hosting Los Verdos. That one's on Season Pass at 7 o'clock. Town FC hosting North Texas SC 8 o'clock on Sunday night. So that's your rundown of everything for Atlanta United 2 and the 2's review of the 2-1 loss of Carolina Core. We'll be catching up with you soon. Play safe, everybody. Enjoy the matches.